The Trevor Lawrence tankathon continues. And listen, the tragedy of the Jets is that they're not intentionally tanking. They're just really bad. And if you're a Jets fan, the idea of enduring, another 10 games of uninspired play led by Adam Gase. Whew. I didn't know there was a website called Tankathon. Another 10 games of uninspired play by Adam Gase. You're weighing that against, well, but if they fire him, they might fool around and win 3 games if they fire him. You almost kind of want them to go 0-16. Now, I maintain, Michael, that if I'm the Jets, and I know Joe Douglas didn't spend the 3rd overall pick. I said this to you, I think it was last week before, they all run together. Every day is the same, just sun up, sun down. I said that you have a talented young quarterback who you have failed to support, taking with the 3rd overall pick in Sam Darnold. I know that wasn't a Joe Douglas pick, but nonetheless, I don't know what Sam Darnold is or isn't at this point. So if I got the number 1 pick, I'd be put it up for auction. But if you're, this is what I want to ask you.
Whoa.
If you're Trevor Lawrence,
right,
supposed generational prospect, best since Andrew Luck, coming off what, 4 touchdowns in the first half, 5 total.
Come with it.
If you're Trevor Lawrence and the Jets have the number 1 pick, are you not the next Andrew Luck, but are you the next Eli Manning? As in, nah, player, take that somewhere else. I'm not playing for the Jets. How do you play it if you're Trevor Lawrence, Michael?
I'm convinced. Now I know for sure. Now I know for sure. Not only the cameras are picking up my activity in the house, you have tapped my phone too. I was just.
Who are you talking to?
Telling you, none of your business. You already know. Don't pretend like you don't know.
I don't know who you were talking to.
You do know, because I was just having this. I'm telling you, I had this conversation with somebody.
Oh, is there a book involved?
It might be. Yes.
Okay, I know. Okay, I know who you're talking to. Okay, I know you're talking to.
I was having a conversation with a very smart somebody this morning, and we had that conversation that if you're Trevor Lawrence, you absolutely don't want to go to the Jets. Now, look. I know I always pick on the Jets, and it's fun. It's fun picking on New York teams. You know, I've lived in the area that I've lived in for over 20 years. It's just what people in this part of the country do, pick on New York teams. Yeah. But in this case, it's not just New York. If you go back, hey, Gary, go back to that list. Go back to that tankathon list. And let's see if we can find a common denominator. I think you'll see it, and I'm not making it up. You can see it right there. It's clear as day. Go back to that tankathon list, and you'll see, okay, number 1 on the list is the Jets. Then you got the Washington football team. You got the Giants, Atlanta, Jacksonville, and maybe the trend stops at Minnesota. But all of them, I'd say out of those top 5, 4 of those organizations are just a mess and have been. Like, it's no accident that your team is bad. Like, the Jets have been bad for years. And I know the Giants have the history of Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick, and they've won a couple of Super Bowls with Eli Manning. But what the Giants do, they win Super Bowls, and then they go on these droughts. Mm-hmm. Like, the Giants are terrible. Washington's terrible. Atlanta, I don't know. Fire my man Thomas Dimitroff. Jacksonville is terrible. So my point is, it's not just, hey, we lack talent. No, you lack vision. You lack organizational vision. And I don't think a guy like Trevor Lawrence is going to go there and be successful because the organization doesn't know what it's doing. And it's just a shame to put a young guy in that situation.
So here's the counter. And I don't typically play devil's advocate. It just comes naturally. But listen, I didn't mind when Eli Manning didn't want to go to San Diego at the time. I was barely old enough. I wasn't old enough to know about it. But looking back, I don't mind John Elway doing it when he didn't want to go to the Baltimore Colts and threatened to play baseball.
My man said he was going to play baseball. He said he was going to play baseball.
This is not far from unprecedented. And I believe, Peyton stayed an extra year of school. I don't know that was the reason why, but he conveniently avoided getting drafted by the Jets, staying his senior year at Tennessee.
That was the reason.
It was the reason? Okay, I didn't remember if that was actually the reason. Okay, got it. Okay.
And Parcells. He wasn't crazy about playing for Bill Parcells either. Anyway, go ahead.
This organization has been putrid for as long as we can remember, okay? All I would say, though, is this, And by the way, going back to that list for a second, you know my Jaguars are right there in the mix. They lost to the Lions yesterday. So my Jaguars, that's the team I've been rooting for because I'm just fascinated with their bounty of picks. It's the franchise mode in me that's talking.
Yeah.
But the team I would like to see him end up at is actually Atlanta. And not just because he played high school ball in Georgia, but I love to see the torch be passed. But if you drafted Trevor Lawrence, you're probably not making him sit behind Matt Ryan. But that's the only organization that I think,
right,
could be interesting enough. Like, listen, if you don't want to go to the Jets, I don't know why you want to go to Washington either and play for that owner.
Exactly.
The Giants don't lack vision. The Giants don't have that much vision. They got a great running back, but not much else beyond that. So there's a reason why all those teams are up there to begin with. Like, if you're drafting that high, whether you have a tradition or not, you're struggling. So playing devil's advocate, getting back to that, if you'd have told Baker Mayfield that he was going to be drafted by the Browns, and look at we don't know what Baker, if he's that guy or not. We overhyped him his rookie year. He struggled since. But you look at the history of Browns since they came back quarterbacks, not exactly, that wouldn't inspire confidence, given the revolving door that their organization has been at all the important.
And now,
Joe Burrow's in Cincinnati. Wait, but Joe, no, but wait, no, that's what I'm saying. No, hold on. I will say one thing, and then I will stop. This is all I'm going to say. Joe Burrow's in Cincinnati.
You're a trip.
Now, Cincinnati had a minute with Marvin, but Cincinnati ain't exactly a destination, even though he's from Ohio. That's not a destination team. If you are a savior, maybe the Jets are just your cross to bear. If he's that dude, why are you laughing? I'm making too much sense to be laughing. See, now I'm not playing devil's advocate. Now I'm serious. If Trevor Lawrence is that dude, and he is the quarterback, not that New York deserves, but the one it needs, and he can go save the Jets, he will be a god in New York for the rest of his life. And it's not going to be Adam Gase. It might not be Joe Douglas making the pick. Why is this ridiculous? I'm saying they all go to bad teams at number one. What?
Michael A. Smith the second.
Don't ever call me that again. Don't ever call me that again. And you know why. Don't ever call me that again. What's understood need not be spoken. Don't ever call me that again publicly. Okay. Go ahead.
Michael Smith.
Yes.
I'm with you. Right
that's my version of Mike. And I know I've slipped up and called you Mike a few times. You prefer Michael. I know
I told people that all the time. They ask me, hey, what do you want to be called Mike or Michael? Michael. Yeah. Okay, Michael. Yeah. And then they just get comfortable.
I know.
I'm not that guy. So I said Michael.
My middle initial is that same thing with you.
All right. But listen.
But go ahead.
On this, not on a previous show, not last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On this show.
What did I say?
This show. First
did I
out.
say something contradictory?
You said, I ain't talking about the Browns anymore. The Browns ain't ready for it.
Yeah.
Browns. So you trying to talk like the Browns have overcome something. They haven't overcome
something. Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Like Baker Mayfield. Well, if you had told Baker Mayfield, you know what? If you told Baker Mayfield, he would have said, why didn't you tell me earlier that this organization is so hard to turn around? Look, organizations like that, the Browns haven't accomplished anything. The reason they've struggled for so long is not talent. The Browns are talented. I guarantee you this.
Wait, don't get off track. Wait, Michael, I got to stop you because you're going down a path that we don't need to go down. If it were about avoiding awful organizations, then nobody would get drafted. And I'm all for it. And maybe this is a conversation about the merits and the legality and the principle of the draft. Please, I just told, okay, so if that's the case, why didn't Baker Mayfield or anybody, why did he pull a power move? I know he wasn't generational, but why didn't he say, you know what, John Dorsey, I'm all set. I don't want to be the latest in a long line of quarterbacks whose careers are going to Cleveland to die. He could have said that. Joe Burrow could have been like, you know what, I'm not really crazy about playing for the cheap Cincinnati Bengals and Mike Brown. No thanks. I haven't heard great things about your organization. I'm all for player empowerment. And I think more of society will be receptive to Trevor Lawrence saying, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm taking my career in my own hands because the list is long of quarterbacks who unfortunately have been drafted into awful situations. Why are you texting me while I'm on TV? Damn, I can't stand that. It should be on mute, but don't text me while I'm on TV. You should be watching the show. Anyway, The list is long of awful organizations that quarterbacks have gone to, and their careers have never gotten on track because they weren't supported.
Right.
So all I'm saying is that if you're Trevor Lawrence, if Trevor Lawrence is that dude, if he's everything he's cracked up to be, the Jets going to draft somebody if they don't commit to Sam Darnold. Somebody's going to go in there and have to fix this situation. And if you're Trevor Lawrence,
I hear you.
This is where the chips fall. That's all I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying, but
you know what the Patriots were before Drew Bledsoe and before Parcells and Drew Bledsoe. You know what they were.
But you know what? But listen. Oh, that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example. And I'll go down the list. But like when John Elway didn't want to go to Baltimore back in the day, the old Baltimore Colts, he went to Denver. He immediately went to a good franchise. I didn't say he went to a winning franchise, but he went to a good franchise. They had good ownership. They had good fan support. They didn't have a John Elway, and then immediately things worked out well for him. I'm saying whether it's Trevor Lawrence, and I would say, don't get talked into this. Oh, you're afraid of a challenge. No,
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
I know you're not saying it.
Okay.
The New York Jets are not just a challenge. The Cleveland Browns are not just a challenge. This is infrastructure stuff. So Trevor Lawrence can't turn it around. He's going to be good.
Not by himself.
It's above his pay grade. It is. It's the head coach. It's the general manager.
It's ownership. It's ownership. I can't stand Woody Johnson. Or Christopher Johnson, or whichever one of the Johnsons. No, absolutely. It is. It feels like it is beyond repair until somebody fixes it. And I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence,
I'm with you,
by himself is going to come in and turn water into wine. I'm not saying he's going to come in and feed the multitude. That is not what I'm suggesting. I am simply saying that Trevor Lawrence, I don't know that he should be sitting there necessarily saying, listen, right now it looks bad. They're not going to have Adam Gase coach him. Adam Gase is not going to be the guy coaching them. Adam Gase might not be the coach by the time this show is over. Okay?
I was going to say, he probably won't make it to November.
Right. I'm saying that if Trevor Lawrence is drafted by the Jets and it's like, oh, my God, it's over for Trevor Lawrence, well, you're telling me that the Jaguars organization has shown so much better vision? You're telling me that the Washington football team is such a better fit?
We're having the same conversation. I think the difference is, I wouldn't pull
I don't know that the power move is his only answer. I think that's the difference in our opinion. I don't know that he has to pull a power move.
I'd say the difference between, let's say, John Elway in the early 80s and even Eli Manning in the early 2000s, the difference is you got a lot of bad organizations. So it's hard to just say, it's hard to pick one that you don't want to go to and find a multitude that you do want to go to. There are a lot of bad organizations. See, the good news is, if you got the money, this is why I think this exists. If you got the money to buy into an NFL team, you absolutely should do it. Unless you are a grade A moron, you're going to make some money buying an NFL team. You got the best TV deal in North America. Before you do anything, all you got to do is turn the light on. Can you turn on a light? If you can turn on a light, you can make money in the NFL. Just turn the lights on. You don't have to sell anything. Don't sell a parking space. Don't sell a hot dog. Turn the lights on and make sure that they know where to wire your funds from your TV contracts. You got to make money. That's the good news. So if you got money, invest in an NFL team. The bad news is some people, like Jimmy Haslam, I'm calling him out. Jimmy Haslam has money, but has no idea how to run a franchise. And it's so amazing to me, Mike. Let me just pick on him just for a second, because I don't want to lose the bigger point. It's amazing to me. You know, Jimmy Haslam was part of the ownership group, minority owner in Pittsburgh. Like, you would think.
Didn't learn a thing.
Don't you get it?
You don't think he'd have learned something? Yeah. He's done the opposite. It's been the opposite of stability.
3 head coaches in 50 years, man. 3 head coaches. They just run it. They're not impulsive. They just say, hey, here's a franchise. We're going to be stable. And he has done the opposite. So it's hard for a guy like Trevor Lawrence. I'm for him
to kind of put your faith
but it's harder to pick.
And more. Listen, in general, more players. Listen, I know I don't mean to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, which from time to time I could be good at. But just understand where I'm coming from. I have never ever begrudged a player for exercising his leverage, whether that's in contract negotiations, whether that's a draft. If Trevor Lawrence decides I am not putting my career in the hands of this organization, I wouldn't blame him. But what I am saying, though, is I don't feel like it's a given that he's going to be ruined if the Jets draft him, because this iteration of the Jets will not be around to do the ruining. You may be right that it's just in the culture and there is no fixing it. I tend to believe that there's somebody, whether it's another general manager, whether it's the right head coach, they will catch lightning in the bottle. So, and that's if they end up doing it. Maybe they're smart enough to auction it off, like I said, because the real power move, if you're the Jets, is to get this number one pick and say, who wants it? Because we're not a quarterback away. Who wants it?
Disaster.
And let somebody like Jacksonville overpay for it.
Listen, hey, if Trevor Lawrence wants to come to the Jets, if it doesn't matter who drafts him, if he's that kid like Joe Burrow, if he's that kid, only the Jets would say.
Bye-bye, Sam
Only
Darnold.
the Jets would be.
Well, okay.
New York Jets.
Okay.
Like, no. We got Sam Darnold.
We got Sam Darnold. We're all set. I got you. I know how funny that sounds.
Because it's crazy.
But wait.
Because it's straight up crazy.
No, it's not crazy. It's not crazy because now you are going to help me prove your point. That's why they're in this position to begin with. Because you take a quarterback with the third pick and you ruin him and let him go flourish somewhere else. So, yeah, you're right.
They didn't ruin him. He was ruined.
They're not helping.
He was already,
whatever he is.
He was already ruined.
Whatever he is, they ain't helping. So, yes, okay, only the Jets would say we're all set with Sam Darnold. Until the next big thing comes out in 3 years, like, oh, you know what, Trevor, it's been real. We're going to try this again. That's the problem. Build around the guy you got. You haven't given him a chance to succeed. You have not set him up to succeed.
Build around the guy you got if he's the right guy. Now, listen, you've got.
How do you know? How do you know?
Do you think Trevor Lawrence, as a prospect, was the same? Let's go back to college days. Is Trevor Lawrence?
Is he better?
I know the Jets have terrible coaches. They also have terrible scouts. I don't know. Douglas came from Baltimore, so he's got good bloodlines.
Okay, so I'll say this.
Have your scouts tell you, how did you rate Sam Darnold as a prospect versus how do you rate Trevor Lawrence? I thought
we were ending this conversation. I thought this conversation was winding down. Apparently it's not. First of all, you don't know what any of them. And if you could tell me that you can watch Trevor Lawrence win 73-7 against Georgia Tech and think you know that he's the real deal with the talent that is surrounding him at Clemson, I'm not trying to knock Trevor Lawrence. I'm not trying to knock Trevor Lawrence. I'm saying, is he more hype coming out than Sam Darnold was? Yes, he is.
Okay,
but
listen,
any quarterback.
Mike,
Trevor, now listen, we're trading places. Theory, if you drop Trevor Lawrence in the current Jets situation, Michael, he's not going to make a difference. Nobody can. Tom Brady at his height couldn't come in and fix the Jets.
Of course not. But I got what you're saying. But in general, you don't know. It's a prospect, and the draft is hard. You got to project, how's this guy going to be in this system? How's this guy going to be if you give him some money, you give him some responsibility, the bright lights, all that stuff. But there's a reason that you've mentioned certain people, and those players all turned out to be good. Like John Elway could have been just another highly touted prospect, but he's a Hall of Famer. Peyton Manning could have been another highly touted prospect. He's a Hall of Famer. Eli Manning's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day too. Andrew Luck retired, but he was well on his way. So those generational guys,
I hope Eli Manning doesn't.
The scouts usually don't miss on those guys. And I'm just trying to tell you that Sam Darnold.
I got you. Sam Darnold was not in that conversation. He was not in that conversation.
So you just move on.
He was not.
See you later. See you later, Sam.
We can move. Hey, how about we move on too? Let's take a break because we got all season to talk about this. I think we agree more than our passion would suggest. I know we see team building in much. This is why you know what the Jets should do? Hire us to co-GM this thing. Hire us.
Man, we got our hands full with
general manager.
What you talking
brother
about?
From another. Dude, we could totally turn around the Jets.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.